All right, here we are back again with another gear list. So back from a recently successful, very successful, lifelong dream hunt of mine, going to New Zealand and hunting tahr in the alpine, and this is everything I brought with. So I figured going into this gear list, I wanted to do the gear list after I got back from New Zealand, because I'll be the first to admit I'm not an expert on hunting New Zealand by any means. So I didn't want to come into this saying, hey, here's all the gear I'm going to bring in this hunt, and then not knowing what gear I didn't use at all, or gear modifications I would make. So what sits right here is everything I actually used. So there's a few pieces of gear I want to touch on first that I did not use at all, that I did not bring in this hunt, that I would not bring again. I did not use our Black Rock hoodie at all. The temperatures were cold, but not cold enough where I needed to use the Black Rock hoodie. So I would not bring that. I did bring 4 pairs of socks on this hunt because Cam told us we would be wet every single day. And he's like, bring 4 pairs of socks, but looking back on it, you're wet every single day anyway. So I would just bring 2 pairs of socks and just know I'm gonna hike in a pair of wet socks every single day. That's pretty much what I did. So I would cut some weight there. Crampons. I really wanted to bring crampons based on suggestions from other people, even though that time of year I knew it probably wouldn't be a ton of snow up high, but just for the safety of going in the alpine if I needed to shoot a tahr. So I packed them all the way in, but I never used them, so use your choice of judgment there. Other people said just the terrain and how steep the grassy areas are even, that they wish they would have had some crampons, but I never used them, so I probably wouldn't bring them back if I was going the same time of year. This was like a basically middle of May, early May type of hunt. What else did I not bring and use? I brought Grexaw boot dryers. Ended up leaving them at a hut we hiked by because I realized my feet are going to be wet every single day. So I made a little donation to the New Zealanders. Hope you guys like those Grexaw boot dryers. I did leave a solar panel at that place as well. Realized, hey, the weather window we had was horrible and there wasn't going to be a bunch of sunny days. So instead of packing around, I left it there as well. Thought I was going to come back and get that, but was not able to. Pyro putty, left that. Probably won't bring that again because really everything's just wet. It's really hard to start a fire anyway, and we really didn't need to start fires, but we did start a fire to cook some tahr meat. So maybe bring a smaller amount of pyro putty, and then I believe those are the main pieces of gear that I didn't bring. So everything right now is everything that I used and would definitely bring again. So let's jump right into some clothing to start it off to get rid of the stuff off the table here. So as most people know, we're testing a bunch of prototype GOHUNT apparel. So this hunt was bred out of this perfect environment, nasty terrain, difficult environment because of weather and just the stuff you had to hike through to go hunt terrain. So we hiked all the way in. I want to make that known. We did not fly in. I would have loved to fly in, phone in, just for that extra scenery aspect of seeing everything from the air. We actually hiked in a total of 19 miles. Took us 2.5, almost 3 days of hiking just to get into our hunting spot. So it's pretty brutal. So it's a great place, like I said, to test out all of our GOHUNT gear. And now, since we tested it, we know we need to work on a couple of our gear pieces to improve them even better before we launch them. So I'm just going to walk through some prototypes right now. You guys will be able to see them quickly. I'm not going to show them too much, but we have a GOHUNT down pants here. So again, prototypes, but we have some, little waterproof area at the bottom, a little good seat area in the back. There's a little special something on the inside, which you'll see later. But yeah, they worked actually really well. Probably remove the pocket on the front because really no one used the pocket on the down pants. But it was really great to have down pants while we're on the hunt because you're sitting around, glassing back at camp, cold underneath the rain gear to stay warm. So those are a solid piece. Puffy jacket from GOHUNT. Again, you always need insulation layer, no matter what you're doing. So this is our version of GOHUNT. Obviously, we're going to make some changes on this jacket and just make it better before it launches. But you got to have a down jacket. I feel like when you go to New Zealand, so I would definitely take those 2 pieces. This is not a prototype. This is a GOHUNT Atmosphere jacket, a good active insulation. All the tahr I shot 3 tahr when I was on this trip, and every single one of them I was wearing this jacket. It's just a bomb-proof piece of gear, and it's a great layer for hiking up the mountains, hiking down the mountains. You're not going to get too hot wearing it, but you're actually going to gain, some warmth because that's that active insulation style on it. Super lightweight, really comfortable, durable. I think it's a great piece and comes in a camo or a gray color. Really like the GOHUNT camo, so I opted for that. And then underneath that layer, I just took one of our Basin Merino hooded, like quarter zip long sleeve. Lived in this every single day. This exact same one I have in my hand right here. There is some wear and tear from some of the sticks and trees we ran into all the time, a few holes here and there, but you're gonna kind of get that in a merino piece. But I was able to dry really, really quickly, that's why I wanted to take it to a wet environment such as New Zealand. I did get a little cut kind of on the backside here on the last day, sliding down a bunch of rocks on our way out, but that's no fault to the piece of gear. It's just the nature of the environment. So I would definitely take this again. Even I would probably take this over in synthetic layer. So really liked our GOHUNT Basin Merino boxers. Just the Saks Quest boxers. Pretty much use these on every single hunt. Only took one pair the entire time. And I guess I should mention that we were out there for a total of 8 days, I believe, of hunting. Socks, mentioned earlier. I would condense it down to 2, whether it's the Darn Tough 2012 or I believe it's the 2011 or all the way around. But yeah, just 2 pairs of good compression, kind of some padded socks just for comfort of hiking around in the mountains. But definitely would condense it down to 2. And while we're on this pair of socks, we'll talk about some other pieces of footwear here. Sheep feet, these are my custom sheep feet here, fit to my feet exactly. Have them all the time, really like them a lot. I feel like if you're going to invest in a good quality pair of boot, you should invest in a quality pair of insoles as well, because that just matches to your body and it just makes a lot less wear and tear every single day in the mountains, and your whole body will thank you when you actually get a nice pair of custom orthotics. The boots I wore in this hunt, which I would 100% take again, even though I did get blisters, but it was no fault to the boots itself, it's just I didn't have time to break them in. These La Sportiva Equilibrium, these are their synthetic version. These are Gore-Tex. If now knowing what I would experience in New Zealand, that we're gonna be wet every single day, it probably would be beneficial to maybe not have a Gore-Tex pair, because it makes it so that these are a little bit harder to dry off every single day, but with the amount of water we were walking through, I don't think anything would have mattered. But I just really like these boots for how much tread they got in the bottom, especially going downhill, really comfortable. A little stiffer boot than I've ever used before, but highly recommend these boots, and they were a treat to hike around the really steep alpine with too. And they were semi-crampon compatible, which is why I got the crampons that I did, which were Petzl. Can't remember the exact model, but yeah, they fit on here perfectly. So yeah, love these boots. Again, there's no real complaints about them. Just wish I had a longer break-in time before I went to New Zealand. And then gaiters. I felt it was essential to have gaiters when you're over there. As you can see here, these gaiters got worked over pretty hard, but they're still kicking. These are Stone Glacier's SQ2 alpine gaiters. I really like that they're adjustable, like to your calf size. You have a lot of room for adjustability here, just to make it fit, especially make it fit with a lighter pair of boot as well. And they're just durable, and slowly became, one of my favorite pairs of hunting gaiters. And you pretty much won't catch me anywhere in the mountains. Probably a desert hunt, I might not wear gaiters all the time, but like if I'm gonna be in the mountains, I'm gonna wear gaiters just for that boot protection, pant protection. Don't want stuff going down my boots and want to keep water off me as best I can, even though, like I said, feet were wet the entire time, so it is what it is. Pants. So we were testing out a prototype of our GOHUNT lightweight pant. This is a pant that's built for mountain hunting, but more early season. We have vents down the side, it goes all the way to your knee. We have reinforced backside here. We have some good pockets on the front. We have their knee pad compatible. Colors are not gonna be this color. The colors are set up this way so you can see wear and tear on different areas. So it's not gonna be this gray black tonage here that you see, but they are actually a phenomenal hunting pant. This is probably our 3rd or 4th version of our prototype pant. And surprisingly, I didn't get a single hole in my pant the entire time. Fit was great, material was great. Still a few more changes we're gonna make on it, but hope you guys will be really excited when these will go live, because I know I'm gonna be wearing them a lot this coming fall. And like I said, knee pad compatible. These are some prototypes. I'm not gonna show you too much of those, of our GOHUNT knee pads that will be able to go inside of there just to make it more comfortable. And I actually wore those knee pads in that pant the entire hunt, and didn't really know they were there. Beanie, I couldn't actually find my favorite beanie, which is, there's a GOHUNT one I really like, can't remember the name of it, and then there's a Peaks equipment gator, or a hat beanie, but this is just a Mountain Ops one. I just grabbed it before I left. It was actually pretty nice to have. sitting in the rain, sitting in the tent all day. So yeah, just bring a beanie when you go up. And rain gear. So we were actually testing prototype rain gear as well. What better environment to test it in than New Zealand, where it's going to rain on you every single day. And they mentioned earlier, but we had a day and a half of hunting in 8 days because of the 2.5 days it took hike in, and then every day, basically since after that, it rained every single day, all day long, all night long. So rain pants. I don't even know if we're actually making them in a camo color. But yeah, prototype rain pants coming out at some point. And then I just want to showcase here packability of our rain jacket. So this is the GOHUNT rain jacket. I have it all rolled up inside the hood, and you can see here, like this is me not trying to compress it any further, but like it is really packable, which is a great thing because rain gear you take on every single hunt usually just sits on the outside of your backpack in some little pocket, basically weight every single day that you're carrying around. And you want a piece of rain gear that's lightweight, but also is going to keep you dry. So prototype, we've been testing it for a little while, and I'm going to do a little more testing as well. One piece I did bring, and I will definitely bring it again, is I wanted one more piece of insulation. So this is a Stone Glacier Grumman vest. Great piece, really lightweight. Didn't really feel it in my backpack because it's, again, lightweight. Wore it at night a lot, and a few times when we were out glassing. So I just, big vest guy. So I'd recommend you bring a vest just to add some extra warmth when you're on top of everything else. Because a lot of this pieces of gear, clothing-wise, I would just wear everything if I got cold. But that was pretty much the perfect mix of clothing, layer-wise, for the temperatures that we had. It was pretty much, 45 degrees down to just below freezing. So it wasn't cold, wasn't too hot as well. GOHUNT hat, just the trusty GOHUNT softy here. Gloves. So I never wore these the entire hunt, but I would still bring them again. These are just Stone Glacier's altimeter mitts. I really like to have down mittens, and I wanted the rain shell on the outside so I could glass with them. Never wore them, but I would highly bring them again just for sitting there. If it did get cold enough to need to use these, because I do have, as most people know, really long arms. So my hands usually do get cold. And I wanted the ability to take these other, like our leather type glove, and put them inside with that rain shell. And these are the, getting closer to the final design of our GOHUNT. I don't know what we're calling these, our GOHUNT like shooter glove, multi-purpose glove. It's got a little leather here, and then DWR coating on the outside. Zippered portion on the side, so you can make it bigger, make it smaller. It's kind of like I said, do-it-all glove. It's not an early season glove by any means. It's more of a mid-season to kind of late season. Probably temps, 45, 50 down to like 5 degrees as long as you're moving around. But been testing these for quite a while. Last full year and a half, I think. So these will be coming eventually. And then you can also layer another pair of gloves, like a thinner merino layer underneath it, which I did not do on this trip, but you could do if temperatures called for it. Then a belt, even though our pant does have a pull tension thing for the belt to adjust the size, I always like having a dedicated belt. So this is just Stone Glacier's, I believe it's their performance belt. Small, lightweight, like to have a belt. Crocs. So while at camp, Crocs were absolutely essential where we were at. As you know, Trail laughed at us because we were going to bring Crocs, and after when Trail got back, he said he really wished he would have brought Crocs. Everywhere we went was wet. The ground, you would step on it, and literally the water, no joke, you'd step on a little spot, the water would come up to this little spot right here and then bleed over into your Crocs. Sometimes you didn't get that depending on where you step, but like everything is saturated, so it's nice to have something that you don't have to step into water all the time by wearing your socks around or having to wear your boots. So I did pack the weight of the Crocs. It was really great to get around and walk around camp, especially those rain days when we sat around, did nothing, and sat in our rain gear and played Uno outside. So I definitely would bring a pair of Crocs again, even for the weight penalty. All right, I'm just gonna touch on something maybe I should have touched on earlier, a few travel tips. I don't wanna get too lengthy on traveling international for hunt. I mean, it could be a dedicated video on itself. I've done it twice now. I'm not, again, I don't consider myself an expert, but I do have some things that kind of helped me along the way. This tip right here really helped because I actually lost one of my bags. I was able to instantly track it when I was about to take off that, hey, my bag's been left behind. And once I got back, I was able to alert them that, hey, my bag is in Los Angeles and didn't make it back to Las Vegas, but that's just putting air tags in every single one of your baggage. Even on my carry-on bag, because I had a carry-on duffel bag that had all my optics in it. So as you can imagine, carry-on bag with a lot of optics is very expensive. And even though it's on me at all times, I wanted to know in case that bag got away from me where it was at. So I have I think I had 4 or 5 different air tags. Every single one was labeled for what the bag was, just descriptive. And I, like I said, labeled my carry-on as well. That way I can know where my gear is at all times. Really handy, just pull it up on your iPhone. You can track all that stuff. Another thing too is just bringing the right charge system plugs for where you're at. Joe got us these really cool, whatever they are, plugs for New Zealand. So converts that into our American one. I also had another one here too that when I traveled to Tajikistan that actually was a multi-purpose one. That has these little adapters that you can use whatever you need to do. Yeah, type 1, that's what they are for New Zealand. And you basically swap it into there, has the USB-C on the side, and then a bunch of different outlets on there. So once we get somewhere or in an airport, international, I can charge my stuff, which is gonna be essential to keep my phone and computer and whatever else charged up. And then a few more travel tips as well. So I did carry a full set of fix-it sticks. So basically these are all the tools I would ever need to adjust anything on my rifle, from torque settings to my muzzle brake to wherever it may be, and all the right torque limiter type dealios inside here, and a bunch of different 1/4-inch bits that could fix anything or fix someone else's bow if they need to. I didn't take this into the mountains. I just traveled with this. So once I landed, I went through and double checked all my settings were to spec, especially the muzzle brake, bipod, random stuff on the rifle, because you don't want to go in the field with, you know, something that potentially could be loose. And then these little bad boys. So again, quick travel tips, carry a lot of locks. As I mentioned before, you know, you have to have a rifle case. You know, it could be TSA approved locks on my rifle case, but also if there's a spot on the outside of your rifle case that can take a lock, I'll put a lock on there. So mine actually has 2, but then I'll carry 2 spares, and then I'll carry 2 other locks. These are Cedar, I think they're Cedar Mountain Fine Firearms, something like that. Rifle locks, really love these locks a lot. These ones are TSA approved. I don't like to use TSA approved, but I do like these locks a lot. I just carry them in case I get to a TSA agent that somehow yells at me and says I have to have a TSA approved lock on my rifle, which is false. You don't have to have it. You should be the only one that can get inside your rifle and access your rifle at any time at the airport. But just in case, you don't want to be that person at the airport who does not have locks. So I bring a whole assortment of locks, and I will say I keep these all in my carry-on. That way, if something does happen, they're not in a bag that might be away from my firearm, and I can then lock all my stuff up. I did have TSA flag these locks a couple times because I didn't know what they were. Once I told them those locks, they looked at it. When I was going through the security checkpoint, I moved on. And then I carry a bunch of these really small locks that are from my other random duffel bags I might have. Keep all these keys. I'll keep 2 different sets of keys in different spots so I don't lose them, but I want to have the backups. But I don't want to have my backups in the same spot. I'll keep a pair on me and maybe keep a pair on one of my carry-on bags. And that way I have all the keys I need to get in all the stuff, especially when you go through TSA, because they're going to want to look at everything. So, little travel tips there. Ooh, one more travel tip. I always take my bolt out. Just makes it a little bit easier. And I like to kind of flag it in a little orange bag, just so someone asks, hey, where's your bolt? Why is it? Then make it a little easier on here for them to make sure everything's safe and kosher. I actually didn't have my lock here too, but I do actually normally have a cable lock, can't see what I'm pointing at, that will go through the bolt area. That'll then show TSA agents or anyone who looks at it that my rifle is totally safe and the bolt is not in it. Now we'll move into some other pieces of gear sitting over here. Med kit. So this is the Uncharted Supply. This is their triage kit. Really super lightweight, has a lot of really good things in here. There's actually a bunch of zip ties, blister kits, Band-Aids, some medication stuff. I actually had to use their blister kit inside here. Felt like it was really good. Their zip ties were really handy for once we got back on our hunt. I was able to label my tahr skulls with zip ties on it so we could separate them out from everyone else's. Mine are the ones with zip ties. Other people didn't have zip ties. And mine were red zip ties too, so it also makes it easy to identify if other people had black zip ties. And then I had another extra little med kit as well, just a bunch of other essentials that I thought I might need going into New Zealand. And then in my kill kit, which I usually carry on top, this is where my tourniquet is in a little bag. So I had tourniquet as well on top of all that other med stuff. So have a good med kit. I've always said in the past I had the worst med kit in the world. I've trying to get smarter as I age, I guess, and actually carry a quality med kit, because you might not be prone to accidents, but you don't know if your buddies are. So carry a med kit that can handle you and your buddies in situations, especially when you're going as far as we did into the mountains. And also, this is not a med kit item, but basically it's the same thing. Garmin InReach Mini 2. Carry one, know how to use it, be able to check weather, be able to message your friends, loved ones back home, and work if you need to. And it's just a backcountry peace of mind. I guess we're going right into kill kit. So this is my kill kit. It's one of these GOHUNT Tyvek style bags. I can't remember, this is probably the small size. But in here is basically all my entire kill kit, plus some random other accessories. So I got some P-cord here. Typically, my GOHUNT ear protection is not in the kill kit. It's usually in the top load of my backpack. But if you're gonna shoot a muzzle brake like I do, gotta have ear protection. I'll have assortment of contacts in here, because I'm blind as a bat. Good assortment of replaceable blades. I have the Goat Knives Ibex Mini replaceable blade knife. Absolutely love this knife. Has the quarter bit thing in the back, so I can use some of these little bits I have, carry a few of them with me in the mountains to maybe check torque settings on my rifle or bipod or tripod, wherever it may be. I actually did carry the Goat Knife chamois, the fixed blade knife, on this hunt as well. I'm not really a huge fan of the fixed blade, but I figured I didn't know what kind of training we're gonna get into about, like, I don't know, fixing stuff around camp or that sort of thing. And so I brought that, used it a little bit, and then I donated it to Monty, who was on our hunt, and gave him that knife when I came back home. So going forward, I probably wouldn't take a fixed blade. I just like replaceable blade knives. I feel like they're the best knife out there and super lightweight. Randomly in my kill kit, I keep an assortment of salt pills and then some Advil. Gotta have measuring tape, see how big your tahr is. So have that in there. For some reason, my toothbrush is in here and my toothpaste. So as you know, I'm a weirdo when it comes to small toothbrush. Gotta save weight somewhere. So tiny toothbrush, tiny toothpaste. Lighter. Got some more replaceable blades, and I did have a big section of tape here, electrical tape. In case I broke anything, needed to fix any gear. Such on the rifle here. Let's get this bad boy off the table. So as you can see here on the front, I have one of our GOHUNT rifle covers. This is actually meant for the system where you can mount it a bunch of different ways on your backpack. You can have it sit vertically on your backpack. You can have it be in the back. You can have a modular design that kind of sits off your backpack and goes forward with quick access. I just like having protection on my rifle, especially from rain, elements, that sort of thing. So I basically just use this as a rain cover. And this is, I guess, a prototype color and a few other things we've been working on, but we do have these out there available right now. I just, again, wanted it to protect my rifle. So it's great for that. Its exact purpose, it solved it perfectly to protect it. All right, now the rifle itself. So this is a 6-hour cross, sawtooth, magnum, and 7 PRC. And yeah, this is the rifle I chose to take to New Zealand. I think it was an absolute perfect rifle to take. I have a 6-hour Tango DMR, 5-30 by 56 rifle scope on there. I love magnification. So I felt like this was the perfect rifle scope for the situations we were going in, because I want to be able to look at the exact hair on the tahr when I was going to take the shot. One feature that I really didn't know how great it was going to be until I got there, because we were going through, you know, the thickest fangorn forest you could ever imagine in your entire life. Lord of the Rings reference, sorry. But was the foldable stock. So to be able to have a foldable stock and have it not sit so high on my backpack was absolutely phenomenal. So let's say that major plugs to chassis system. First year I've ever used a chassis stock. But for this situation, for how thick it is, I would highly recommend probably not going with a traditional rifle stock, if possible. Obviously, you know, these things cost money, but it was definitely nice having that option for me to be able to fold it over. Moving forward, I got RPM rings on here. These are, I believe, the mediums. Really great ring system. Have a bubble level on the side. Also have I believe it's a Patriot Plus bubble level on top. I like having lots of bubbles on my rifle for camp purposes, back and forth. Moving up, I have the Tracer RP bipod. This is the first hunt I've actually taken this bipod on. I really enjoy the versatility of the bipod, how lightweight it is. It's a different bipod than I've used in the the past, but I'm able to go really, wide and low prone to really tall if I need to shoot off my knees or different shooting situations. I did actually flip the lever around. I've seen everyone else, I guess when they ship, the lever is forward, but to me the lever should be backward on the side. That's going to adjust the tension on my arc rail because I don't want any, vegetation coming over here and popping it over. So nothing can actually, make that pop forward. So I just took the whole thing apart, flipped it around, locked it back in place. I think that's a great way to do it. But yeah, very, very adjustable bipod. A lot of different things you can do for movement and again to the legs. A lot of adjustments there. And on the bottom, it's on a Salmon River Solutions full Arca rail. I really love a lot of Salmon River Solutions products, especially their Arca rail, and I use one on every single rifle I have. Wow, there's a lot of dirt everywhere coming out of this gun right now. It's got a proof carbon fiber barrel on it, and up front here it has a Snowy Mountain rifle, Snowflake self-timing 30 cal 5/8 by 24 brake on it, and as you can see here, I actually did get it loose when I was beating it up, carrying it out, so I gotta tighten that back down from the next hunt. Forgot to mention I do have a sunshade on it. I do like having a sunshade. I have a throw lever on the rifle scope. I have GOHUNT 2-round ammo holder here on the side. Didn't have to use it because of the nice magazine in the bottom, but figured it's always best to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. Can't think of anything else here I'm missing on this rifle. I guess I did change out the safety system on here to have a little bit of a thumb shelf on the side. It just felt more comfortable for me for precision shooting to have that. And yeah, phenomenal rifle. Ammo. Talk about that next. So, but yeah, all in all, love this SIG rifle. Shot really well. Ammo. So, as I mentioned earlier, I have a bunch of those little small locks. I actually put a little bit of lock on my ammo case there. Typically not required, but I figured might as well make sure that TSA loves me and doesn't want to nitpick everything, especially when you land in an international country there. So one of the things that I've learned just makes it a little bit easier is when you're flying internationally, some flights have limitations how many rounds you can carry into the country, which I already declared how many rounds I was going to take. But also they limit or they list the requirements for ammo in weight. So I didn't want to say, hey, they ask you how many rounds you have. If I say 40 rounds, they're going to be like, well, what is 40 rounds? It's based on weight in New Zealand. So I labeled it as 1.632 kilograms. So that way I knew instantly I could say, hey, this is how much ammo I have. And if they wanted a quantity number, well, here's the quantity number as well. And it would match my paperwork, that I'll talk about in a little bit here. So let's do that on top, just make things easier when you go through any sort of checkpoint, either it's in the United States, on an airline, or internationally. I did not include all my extra little things I did inside here, but you can see I got all my rounds. The choice I have here, or the ammo choice, 80G brass. I have Barnes 160 grain LRX bullets, Hodgen H1000 powder, and CCI 250 primers, and these things hammer. So most know I've been using Barnes for a long time. They work really, really well. And they just work great. So the one little trick I did when I was getting this all set up is I take paper towels and I basically intertwine paper towels around every single round in here just to make it so basically you're putting your ammo to bed and making sure when you're traveling internationally they're not going to sit there and shake, because right now as you can see, and if you're flying and traveling around, that's going to do that the entire time. So with the combination with paper towels wrapped every different way, it's going to hold all those rounds in place. And I actually had a thicker foam pad on the side here, and I actually have two little foam inserts on top to protect the tips so they don't bounce up and down and smack the top. Just trying to do little things to make sure my rounds are perfect. They're clones when I made them, and I wanted to be clones of each other when I land at my hunting destination. And sure, they do make a lot of other cases out there that have little foam inserts, and I actually have some of those at home, but a lot of mine are really big, so maybe I need to find a way to get a lot smaller ammo case for traveling on hunts where I have to fly to. And then again, you see I have a little manila folder here with my name on it. Should have mentioned this earlier in some travel tips, but actually all my travel documents for the international hunt I carried in here, and actually got compliments from several of United States TSA agents. And then once I got to New Zealand and talked to the police department, they were really impressed that all my documents were in here. For my rifle permit, I had copies of all the emails of my permit being approved. I had a copy of my passport, I had a copy of my hunting permit, everything I needed, all my travel documents were right in here along with my passport too. So I could basically say, here's my documents, here's all my approved stuff, here's my form 4457, so I can get back in the United States, just have everything ready all the time. So basically like, hey, here it is, top page is what you need, second page is this, and that way it'll just make your process smoother. It looks like you know what you're doing when you're flying with the firearm, and this makes it a lot easier to travel around and makes everyone feel more confident too and safe because you have all your stuff dialed. Okay, I guess with the rifle portion that I forgot about, this is just the Rugged Ridge outdoor gear rear support. Again, I spray painted mine orange a long time ago before they offered an orange one. This thing's still kicking. Absolutely love this for putting it on the rear of the rifle and being able to adjust it for the height that I need, and it's super small and compact and fits right in the GOHUNT pants and one of our zippered pockets. So highly suggest carrying this. You can obviously carry other things too. You could carry, a sock with a bunch of beads or whatever inside there, or just, fold up a shirt, or take your bino harness and put it underneath there. But I just really like the system a lot. Guess I have a headlamp sitting here, so we'll talk about it. Peaks Backcountry Duo headlamp, probably one of the best headlamps out there on the market. This is the green one, so it does have a green light, USB-C rechargeable. The only thing I wish, Peaks, if you're listening, to change your little charging system so you actually can take any sort of USB-C cord. Inside here, I have a cord that's specifically for the Peaks headlamp. It's not that big of a deal, but just in case if you lost it or whatever, sometimes those other headlamp cords, depending what they are, like for your iPhone, don't really want to charge the system. Can't remember why, something in the internals, but just a suggestion there to maybe modify that. But best headlamp out there. A little heavy, but very, very bright. I guess I have toilet paper sitting here. So again, just like all my other international hunts, carry less than an ounce of toilet paper, pretty much exactly 1 ounce. And this is how much toilet paper I still have left after 8 days in the mountains. So toilet paper and Ziploc bag. I actually had 2 Ziploc bags because I was concerned about how wet it was going to be. And this one actually has some tears in it. So yeah, make sure your toilet paper is protected when you go into a wet environment. Let's go into what I would call optic accessory bag. This is basically GOHUNT, one of their gear bags, the extra small version in orange, and basically keep everything here related to optics or charging, charge cords, etc. So I got a little blower here, clean off all the lenses or optics. Got several different charge cords. This is an Anchor USB-C, USB-C, 3 foot long length. I did bring on this hunt, I guess we'll talk about this. This is a flex tail backup headlamp, really lightweight. Another Anchor USB-C, USB-C. This one's I believe it's 1 foot. Yeah, that might be a foot. I had a Garmin watch cord just to be able to charge my watch because I drop tracks a lot of times on my watch just to get some fitness data for how much energy I'm expending on the hunt, just whatever, geeky like that, I want to track all that stuff. So I did bring a watch charge cord. Here's that Peaks USB, whatever normal, I think it's USB-A to USB-C, and it has a little Peaks logo on it, so I know it, and it says use this charge cord only. Little Sig Sauer mini lens pen, has a little brush on the front, and has a little thing on the front side. It's super small, super compact. In here, a bunch of Zeiss lens wipes, and also, since Joe behind the camera right now is really nice, he gave us some anti-fog lens wipes that actually came in super handy on the hunt, just to coat the front of the lenses on our optics. Also inside here, I do have a little lens cloth, and then I have an Anchor, whatever it is, a normal USB-A to USB-C converter, so that way I can convert, a bunch of these other cords to USB-C, because most of my charge bricks are USB-C, and these are just the Nitecore NB10000 Gen 3s. These things are super lightweight. Get a couple charges out of them. Really great charge cords, don't have anything bad to say about them. And then I had an Anchor as well. This thing's a brick. I kind of wish I didn't have to bring this, but hey, all the other guys, they lost their charge bricks, or not everyone, Omar and Trail, because they put that in their check bag down below instead of in their carry-on. So if you're traveling, you gotta carry these in your carry-on on the flight. Won't get confiscated. So since they lost all theirs, I decided to bring this one in extra, and especially since I wasn't going to use my solar panel, I found out. And then I gave Trail actually one of my other ones too. So I packed a lot of charge bricks to the hunt and then gave them to him so he could use. And yeah, that's all the stuff in there. Slide this over. These bad boys here. So I took one of the GOHUNT trekking poles just to have hiking around on the way in. Had the little cup on the bottom here so it doesn't sink in the mud. And then my second one, or ended up being my main source of pole, spiral stick, etc., is the MTM Gear Stick 4.1. I have always wanted this, but it's expensive for a reason. It's very well made. It's made in New Zealand. Guy's super cool. Got to meet him at SHOT Show this last year. Talked to him for a while about it. And then I ordered one. They actually have some US distributors here, so it didn't take too long to get, but it's really sweet. You obviously have the ISAC side of it on the front. Bunch of different use cases for it. Safety handle on here. Little device here in the back to dig in the ground, dig out, flat spot for your camp, etc. Whatever you need to do with it, you have it there. And it also has a Picatinny slot in here, so you can put a camera on there if you need to, or if your rifle has Picatinny rail on the bottom, you actually could shoot from this. Very versatile. I got the long version because obviously I'm really tall. And then I really like on the bottom too, it has like your normal trekking pole, little spike thing on the bottom. And I will want to mention, just put a nice almost dent in our table. These little guys. So when you're traveling, whether it's on a flight here in the States or whatever, these things are sharp. Okay, you put these in a nice expensive, Yeti Panga bag, or uncharted supply bag, or whatever kind of bag you might be flying with that you spent a lot of money on. You don't want to cut it up, and yeah, you could just wrap tape on it, but take the little rubber things that normally I would throw away, but I keep them all for the times when I fly, just to be able to protect it. That way it's not going to bang anything in my gear, or maybe I had a down jacket near this and I don't want my down jacket to be torn open. So I covered both of these with the little rubber foot things on the bottom of it, just to keep the gear protected. Yeah, we'll jump into backpack and that sort of thing here in a second. So initial ascent, backpack rain cover. It's New Zealand, it's wet. Got to have something to cover your backpack. Backpack of choice for me, again, it's what I've been using the last couple years now. Initial ascent, 8K. Perfect backpack for everything. If you're going to get one backpack, I suggest you get the biggest one because you can always compress it down smaller. It handles heavy loads great, and this load that I had was stupid heavy going into New Zealand hiking and then coming out with all the tahr. It was pretty brutal. I do have the load pannier in the middle here, and just a really awesome backpack. Really love it. It's a little heavier than some other backpacks out there, but it can take a beating and still keep on going. So it just carries heavy loads really well. Love the organization of it too. So that's the backpack. Okay. I don't have any of my food sitting here, but it's pretty much the same food I normally carry. I hear a lot of people talking about food when you're traveling to New Zealand, about different tips and that sort of thing. So you cannot have pork, and you cannot have anything chicken-based. So any of the freeze-dried meals that have pork or chicken, throw them out before you get home. Put them in your little container for later. Do not try to fly with them, because if you try to fly with them, they're just going to take it and throw it away. Some people say you can't have any, but that is false. You can have stuff that is beef-based. And especially, you can look on their regulations on their website. You want to make sure that whatever food you're carrying there has the country of origin somehow stamped on there, because a lot of countries where no matter what it is, you can't fly and import it in there. So US, luckily, we could import our stuff that had beef in it. So our freeze-dried meals that had beef were totally good. The Pro Bars were totally good to fly with. Flew a bunch of my Pro Bars over there. Little energy bolt things from Pro Bar, those were able to fly. You can't have honey stingers because that has honey in it, so just keep that in mind as well. But a lot of that stuff we did buy there, but like I said, the freeze-dried, Pro Bar, did bring some coffee as well that they were in their original packaging. That all flew really great. There's probably a bunch of other things about food. I'm not going to try to dig into it too much, but my food was typical of what I normally carry. But then we bought a bunch of our sandwich stuff, chips, that sort of thing when we got over there, just to make it easy for traveling internationally. And all my food just went into this Stone Glacier dry cell bag. For the duration of the hunt, stove, carried this Jetboil stash pot, GOHUNT Essential titanium spork, and then the stove burner on the bottom. Can't talk about it, can't show you about it, but just know there's a really cool one on the market that's going to come out soon. It's not GOHUNT, but it's really cool, and I was testing out a prototype when I was there. Wish I could show it to you, but I can't. So it's really sweet. Just know that. Going to come eventually this year. For other things, GOHUNT ultralight Nalgene. Just brought one of these. Touching on water really quickly. Before we left, Cam, who is our buddy, he basically said we do not need to bring any sort of water filtration at all. No SteriPen, no drops, no tabs, whatever it may be. And I kind of laughed at him. But when I got over there and realized how much water there is everywhere, he kept saying the water's completely safe. Don't know where you're going to be at hunting. It felt very weird to me to leave that at home, but I did leave it at home and did not take it to the mountains and just drank the water straight out of all the streams coming down the mountain, and I was okay. Won't recommend that for everyone, but just know that you might not need to over there. I definitely will not do that in the United States. Wow, that'd be really gross. But over there, it was okay, and I'm still standing today, and I have had Giardia before, and I know how horrible that is. I lost 18 pounds when I had Giardia, like whatever it is, 15 years ago. So would not recommend getting Giardia, but we did not bring any water filtration. Just touched on that quick. And I also carried a MSR 6-liter Drome, I think it's a Drome dairy bag, Drome light bag, whatever it may be, just to carry water to camp. So we had a bunch of water at camp. I'm gonna skip optics for a little bit, get more of this stuff off the table. Sleeping bag, Peaks Solus 15-degree bag, really great bag. Surprisingly, what I really like about this bag compared to some other ones, I don't have condensation on the top of my bag for whatever reason. When I'm wearing it, Omar in the sleeping bag he chose, every single morning we would wake up, he had condensation all over it. My bag, for every reason, doesn't. Dries really well. It is a down bag, and we have had people ask, would I take a down bag again into New Zealand instead of a synthetic? And I think I would. It dries fairly fast inside the teepee. We didn't have a stove in there, but I just tried to not get it wet. The one thing I would do, again, just, I love this bag, 15-degree bag. I had our GOHUNT compression sack here. I think this is the one for the sleeping bag. So I had the GOHUNT compression sack here. And while I can compress that bag really, really small, the only thing I would have added is another waterproof bag to be able to go around this to protect my sleeping bag since it is down. We had one day where we had to do a big stream crossing, and it actually came up to my waist, the water, and so my backpack got wet, and then I was keeping my sleeping bag at the bottom of my backpack, and then that night we actually were getting ready to leave because we're going to fly out. Went to a hut that luckily had some dry wood there, and I was able to dry out my sleeping bag to be able to use it. But that you can see how that could have been a dangerous situation if my sleeping bag got completely soaked. So just carry something else to keep your valuables, your down or whatever, in a waterproof bag so they don't get wet. Sleeping pad. This is a Thermarest Neo Air. I think this is the NXT version of it, whatever it may be. Really nice pad. And then shelter. So as you guys have seen, we're coming out with a GOHUNT Dyneema teepee. And I'm not going to show you it, but it's in here. It's not the final version by any means, and it has some stakes in here and stuff like that too, and actually compressed a little bit smaller if I took it out of this. I actually had it in our smaller size compression sack and was able to probably compress it down, I don't know, about that small. But yeah, still working through some details on this, but yeah, we were testing it out there. GOHUNT carbon fiber poles for the teepee. And mentioned both of these. I did carry the GOHUNT Dyneema tarp, and then I had some of the GOHUNT stakes as well, because you just never know if we're going to get caught up on the mountain and you sit there in glass, don't want to waste time, and have to hike all the way back out, or to sit there in your rain gear and suffer all day. Be able to have a little bit of comfort. So I had the tarp. I actually never used it, but I had it in my pack every single day in case I needed to. And I would definitely bring it again. And then while we're on the sleeping, this is just our GOHUNT ground sheet. Especially when you're in a tarp, everything's gonna be wet underneath there. You wanna put that down to protect your sleeping bag and your sleeping pad. This should have been mentioned with the rifle stuff. I brought 2 of the GOHUNT ammo wallets. And again, if I was gonna go back and do it again, I probably would have just taken 1, and then this holds 10 rounds. the GOHUNT ammo wallet, and then I could fit, you know, some in the magazine and some of the 2-round ammo if I needed to, but I brought way too much ammo back there because I figured some of the bow hunting guys might need to borrow my rifle towards the end of the trip and shoot around. Omar was the only one who shot around, but yeah, did not need to bring, I think I brought 26 rounds, which was silly. That was a lot of extra weight, and I could just brought rounds for myself and let the bow hunter guys deal with their thing. And then I still probably would have had extra if I only brought, you know, 12 rounds or whatever. This is a little Z-Packs eyeglasses case. So I'm blind as a bat, have to have eyeglasses all the time. This is a really lightweight way to keep my glasses inside here and keep them protected while I'm on the mountains. And I don't have all my contacts here, but I have shit tons of contacts with me on the hunt. Carry them in my pocket, carry them in my backpack, carry them everywhere. Talk about optics. Let's jump into that. So optic-wise, all-in digiscoping system on my phone. Have that in a spotting scope too. Unfortunately, I can't show you the spotting scope. That's all I'll say about that. Bino harness. So when I got down there, Cam gave me a little treat. He gave me a bino harness from Twin Needle with the custom GOHUNT logo on top. This is not a GOHUNT bino harness, but it's a cool thing that Twin Needle did for me to put the GOHUNT logo on top. It's actually a really sweet bino harness, and I'm probably going to use it all this coming year. I like the modularity of it, having all the attachment points really, really nice on here, and it just has a magnet top, and you actually can just grab it and fold it down if you need to. But inside here, I have my Zulu 6. These are the HDX Pro model. So a little bit more light gathering, image stabilized bino. Can't really go in the mountains without image stabilized. These things are phenomenal. I do have the ASIAC equipment bino clamp on here. Absolutely love this. It sits, you know, super slim to the actual binos. It's not sticking way off. It's really one of the best ways to have a tripod system on the HDX Pro Zulu 6, because it allows me to basically mount this on a tripod, turn stabilization on or keep it off, and glass off a tripod. So that's the only thing I sometimes miss about image stabilized binos. Sure, you can glass comfortably all day long, pick apart the mountains, but sometimes it's just nice to really grid it out and like really mount it on a tripod and go up and down, left and right, and just pick apart the mountain trying to find animals. So I did like that feature. Yeah, just a super awesome bino harness. I don't have my rangefinder pouch attached on here, but I did have a marsupial one. It's not this one, it was one of the little smaller ones. I did attach it on the side because I do not have accessories right now for the Twin Needle. But as you see here, very, very versatile, very cool design. Rangefinder, standard 6 hour 8K, just to be able to do everything I need to do. It has all my ballistics data for my rifle built inside of here. Tripod, Tricer BC with the LP pan head on top. Super buttery smooth. Guess I should tighten everything up before I do a video, but yeah, lightweight tripod. Really great for digiscoping off of, glassing off of. Glassing pad, this is Stealthy Hunter glassing pad. Needs to be washed. It's really gross. I haven't washed it once, but yeah, that's what the color used to be. Probably should wash it. So, glassing comfortably, not getting wet the whole time. Do my Kestrel 5700 Elite, basically ballistics, wind meter, that sort of thing. Basically a backup of the backup in case I need to take some shots or in case I need to judge the wind and try to read some wind conditions before I take one perfect shot in a rifle situation. Slowly move all these over. I'll talk about camera gear just for a second, because most people know I love taking photos on a hunt. I traveled with this Peak Design Cube, but then I obviously didn't take it while I was hunting. 2 lenses I took, Sony 12-24, and then I also had my Beast, my favorite lens, my Sigma 35 1.2. Thing's heavy, but takes really good photos. At least I think it does. And then just had my Sony A7R4. So brought this and this, and then brought a bunch of memory cards. I brought way too much batteries on the hunt. I took like 4 batteries. Probably could have taken 2 or 3, really used one the whole entire time, but just keep some backup batteries in a Ziploc bag. So that's some more things I'll probably modify. And last but not least, I did bring my Kindle into the mountains. Obviously I could use my phone, but I figured we're gonna have some weather days and it's not that great to read books on my phone. So I did bring my Kindle. This is just a super old dry bag that I have. It's from Kuyu actually, from way back in the day. Just have a padded case for it. And then boom, Kindle. And look at that, 2 towers. Almost finished that one when I was out there, again for like the 6th time I've read it, but that's kind of really nice to have inside the teepee every single day in the evening to be able to read a book. And I obviously had some movies downloaded, all Lord of the Rings downloaded as well on my phone. So the combination of all this stuff, is what I used when I was in New Zealand. So that'd be a wrap of that. All right, so I just actually got a phone call saying I can talk about this stove. So we're gonna talk about the stove right now. So this is a Roughridge stove, brand new company. Our good friend and brother, Chris Neville, and his actual brother, Josh Neville, they created Roughridge stoves. So this is a prototype I've been testing for a while now. Took it to New Zealand again. It actually works phenomenal. I wish I could have had it in my stove test video. You'll hear a lot more coming up about this. You actually can check them out on Instagram right now. I don't really think they're doing a lot of leaking stuff quite yet, but this stove should drop end of the year, here 2025. And it's just a little sample of what's to come. Obviously, stove's got some arms up here on top, really foldable design, pressure regulator on it, and it's got a lot of cool features I'm not going to dive into yet, but it's the first part of their entire stove system, so pot and everything like that. So I just had the stove part to use on the hunt. So pretty cool things coming from Mr. Christopher Neville. All right, so that again is a complete run through of everything I took to New Zealand. I'm not saying you need every single one of these pieces. I've never said that. I would never tell people to use exactly what I have, but these are just good suggestions. If you're going to hunt New Zealand, obviously talk to someone over there, whether they're going outfitted, whether they're going with a friend, get their suggestions, but this is what I use, and I feel like this was very successful gear list. All these pieces of gear absolutely loved, and would definitely take them again to New Zealand. If you have any questions at any of the gear, obviously we have a lot of things coming when it comes to GOHUNT in terms of hunting apparel, so stay tuned for much of that. Any questions on that, let me know. And yeah, best of luck if you ever go to New Zealand. If you ever want to drop a comments on here, if you're going to be going there soon and want some suggestions on individual pieces of gear, I'd be happy to help. Drop them on there on our YouTube channel, or hit me up on Instagram. Be happy to help. So hopefully this will help you get into the alpine, have an adventure of a lifetime, experience New Zealand. That was the first time I've ever been there, and it's worth everything to go there. It's a little logistical tricky mess to get over there, but once you get there and you're hunting, and it's a lot of fun. So best of luck to anyone going over there, and hope this video helps you out.